revealed how a billionaire's incredible act for a motionless girl at the airport changed everything. Lisa stood at O'Hare, the frenzied hum of travelers swirling around her like invisible waves. She clutched a crumpled photo of Mia, the last remnant of their laughter-filled afternoons under the golden sunlight. The airport was bustling, the excitement palpable. Yet all Lisa felt was a heavy ache in her chest. Mia was coming home after months of treatments, and while joy bubbled beneath her surface, loneliness loomed large. She lifted the photo closer, tracing Mia's sunny smile with a trembling finger, remembering a time when worry didn't cloud their world. Every hospital stay siphoned another piece of their dwindling savings, and with each day that passed, Lisa's spirit felt more fragile. She shifted her heavy bag on her shoulder, an ever-present reminder of her sacrifices: the late nights, the missed meals, the laughter that had faded into soft sighs of resignation. A fleeting thought crossed her mind. Was hope worth the fear of disappointment? In the terminal, billionaire Sam Collins observed the scene, a living echo of his own past. His sharp business mind often kept him focused, but today, he couldn't shake the image of Lisa's weary silhouette. Drawing closer, he overheard snippets of a conversation about a girl named Mia. Words filled with compassion, and he felt an undeniable tug at his heart. He knew what adversity looked like, having spent his own childhood fighting for every crumb. Something about Lisa made him feel compelled to accede as Mia's plane was announced. Lisa's heart raced, her eyes dancing atop the crowd, hoping to catch a glimpse of her daughter. Yet with every passing moment, anxiety hollowed deeper. The pull of the unknown was suffocating. Sam, watching her from a distance, made a sudden decision that would change everything. He leaned over to a passing airline worker and whispered his intention to help Mia with her medical expenses. It felt like a raw, impulsive act of kindness, echoing his mother's lessons from years ago. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as Lisa wrapped her arms around Mia, the warmth radiating between them shattered the very air around her. News of Sam's generosity swept through the city like wildfire. Debates flared over social media, with voices polarized between gratitude and resentment. Should Lisa accept this lifeline and risk being seen as someone benefiting from privilege? She had always prided herself on her independence, but now, all she felt was confusion. Cracks formed in her sense of identity. Each encounter with her neighbors, laden with their own struggles, reminded Lisa that they were all bound together by shared fights and victories. With every story, her heart began to mend. As the chaos of opinions crashed around her, she felt a flicker of hope igniting deep within. Mia stood before her, turbulent emotions swirling as they embraced, but as joy washed over them, the looming question of Sam's offer overshadowed the moment. Could accepting this help open doors to dreams, or would it pull her and Mia apart? With space for possibility, everything was about to change, and every step forward felt more daunting than ever. Lisa's mind raced like a whirlwind, thoughts colliding and twisting, just as chaotic as the airport scene that surrounded her. She held Mia tightly, wanting to shield her from the world outside. But reality was waiting. It had a way of sneaking under her defenses, whispering doubts that gnawed at her heart. "Mom, is everything okay?" Mia's voice broke through her reverie, innocent and sweet, filled with the simple hope of a 10-year-old. "Of course, sweetheart. I just missed you so much." Lisa forced a smile, her heart swelling as she brushed a strand of hair behind Mia's ear, staring into the girlish expressive eyes that held a hint of vulnerability. They were back together at last, but the echoes of the past few months felt like heavy chains, pulling her thoughts back to Sam's offer and what it might mean for their future and the days that followed. Lisa felt an internal struggle that was impossible to ignore. The media buzzed with the story of the billionaire saving the girl, creating a narrative she hadn't asked for. Friends and acquaintances praised her for being an inspiration, but inside, she felt like an imposter. Each compliment was a reminder of the burden she carried, the shame of needing help when she had always prided herself on being self-reliant. Mia began treatment again after her brief respite. Lisa accompanied her to appointments, a quiet determination mingling with the anxiety she wore like a second skin. Sam would call, offering support, but Lisa's pride held her back. "I can do this," she told herself at each clinic visit, clenching her fists and forcing a smile as she watched Mia bravely face the needle, tears pooling in her eyes. Yet, there was a silent dread lurking beneath Lisa's resolve. Was doing it on her own the right approach, or just a way to shield herself from what truly mattered? Mia's health. The tension thickened as their little apartment felt more like a weight than a home. "Are you okay, Mom?" Mia's voice occasionally cut through Lisa's spiraling thoughts. "I'm fine, honey." But deep down, she longed for the relief that could come from accepting help, from letting someone else bear some of the load. And every evening, alone in the kitchen, she found herself glancing at her phone, wondering if she should just reach out to Sam. Days turned into a blur of hospital gowns and waiting rooms, where friendships formed and hope flickered, but they never erased the constant reminder of the impending deadlines caused by bills and payment notices. Lisa's heart ached with the reality they faced a battle not just against Mia's illness, but against the financial strain that threatened to break them. One evening, as Lisa sat in the dim light of their living room, clutching her phone, she found herself staring at Sam's last message. It was simple, yet it resonated deeply. "I'm here for you, Lisa. Don't hesitate to reach out." The words felt heavy with meaning. Was it really that easy to take a step forward? Could accepting help not just be a handout, but an opportunity to dig deeper into what being a mother could truly be? Torn, she took a deep breath and began to type a reply. But the phone slipped from her fingers as her mind whirled in circles, fear crashing against hope, mistrust against longing. The decision weighed on her like a brick. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, jolting her from her thoughts. Who could it be? She hesitated before opening the door, the weight of uncertainty pressing against her chest. As she turned the doorknob, the unexpected future loomed just beyond the door, threatening to change everything. What awaited her on the other side? As Lisa opened the door, a gust of cool evening air swept through the apartment, carrying with it the scent of rain and an air of something unspoken. Standing there was Sam, his expression a mix of concern and determination. He held a small bouquet of vibrant flowers in one hand, a stark contrast to the heavy cloud of anxiety that loomed over Lisa. "Hey," he said softly, his eyes scanning her face for signs of the struggle she tried so desperately to hide. "I thought I'd stop by. Mind if I come in?" Words caught in her throat. She wanted to pull him inside and pour out everything, every fear, every hope, but instead, she stepped aside, letting him enter the space that had felt so heavy lately. The familiar warmth he radiated gave her a brief sense of comfort amidst the chaos. "Those are pretty," she murmured, gesturing toward the flowers. "Thought they might brighten your day." His smile was genuine. "How's Mia?" She's doing okay." "Back to treatment," Lisa replied, her voice faltering. The weight of the world seemed to press even harder at that moment. Sam nodded, his face serious as he took a seat on the worn couch, the fabric well familiar with every crease and wrinkle of her life. "Can we talk?" he asked gently. Lisa hesitated, a knot twisting in her stomach. This was the moment she had both dreaded and yearned for, the chance to let someone in, the possibility of releasing some of the burdens she had carried. "Yeah," she finally said, sinking into a nearby chair, trying to find a semblance of strength hidden beneath the surface. "I guess we should." He leaned forward, his voice steady and calm. "I know things have been hard. Listen, I'm here to support you, but you have to let me." She felt a lump in her throat. "I just don't want to be a burden, Sam. You've done so much already, I don't want to take more from you. It's not a burden if I want to help." The sincerity in his voice resonated deep within her, hitting a vulnerable chord. "You don't have to do this alone. You shouldn't have to fight this fight by yourself." Tears pricked at Lisa's eyes. She glanced away, afraid to let him see just how close to breaking she felt. I'm trying to be strong for Mia, to show her that we can overcome this together. You can be strong, but you don't have to carry it all alone. Sam's gaze softened, captured by her struggle. Let me be a part of that, Lisa. The moment stretched out between them, thick with possibilities. She imagined what it would feel like to unburden herself, to let someone else lighten the load, even if just a little. Yet, her pride, honed over years of independence, clawed at her, resisting the temptation. What if I screw things up? She whispered, her voice barely there. Sam shook his head. It's okay to mess up. That's part of being human. But not reaching out? That's the real mistake. There was a pause before he added, You've already helped so many people, Lisa. It's time to let others help you. His words sank in, a mixture of comfort and fear. The idea of relinquishing control felt daunting. She had been the one to hold everything together, and now, here was someone who genuinely wanted to share that responsibility. Taking a deep breath, she looked into Sam's eyes, recognizing the kindness there. What if I say yes? Then we figure it out together. He smiled, and within that smile, she saw a future that didn't seem so bleak. Just then, the sound of a door creaked open from the back of the apartment, and Mia's voice floated into the room. Mom, is everything okay? Lisa's heart raced, caught between wanting to protect her daughter from the world and the yearning to embrace this moment of vulnerability. As Sam turned to greet Mia, the uncertainties of their future began to swirl like leaves caught in a storm, beautiful yet unpredictable. What would Mia think of Sam's presence? Would she accept the chance for help as warmly as Lisa hoped to? The reality of choices loomed before them like shadows, ready to dance into the light of their lives, waiting for the next step to unfold. What would happen if the truth about their situation came tumbling out? Mia peeked into the room, her eyes wide with curiosity. The moment her gaze found Sam, confusion knitted her brow. Mom, who's that? Lisa felt the weight of Mia's gaze. It felt like a spotlight on her uncertainty. This is Sam, Lisa managed, her voice wavering slightly. He's a friend. Hi, Mia, Sam said warmly, standing up. He extended the flowers as if they were a peace offering. I brought these for your mom. I thought they might help brighten her day. Mia's eyes flickered from the flowers to Lisa, trying to gauge the situation. Thanks. Her tone was polite but cautious. Is everything okay? This is what we were just talking about, Lisa said, her heart hammering. She knew how delicate this moment was. Sam is here to help. He wants to be part of everything we're going through. Mia's expression shifted, a mix of skepticism and curiosity swirling in her young face. Help how? Lisa looked at Sam, pleading silently for him to ease Mia into the reality the three of them now shared. Well, you know how things have been tough for us lately? Sam began, his voice soothing. I want to support both of you. That means being here for whatever you need. Mia looked down at the floor, processing this new information. Her small hand clutched the doorframe, a semblance of security in the unfamiliar situation. But I don't need help. We've always just dealt with things ourselves. There was a tender weight to Mia's words, a deep-rooted pride that resonated with Lisa. She had raised Mia to be strong and independent, but the reality was their situation was bigger than any of them could handle alone. Mia, Lisa said, urging her daughter to see the bigger picture. Sometimes, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. I've realized that I can't do everything on my own, and it's okay to lean on someone. Sam nodded in agreement. I'm not here to take over or replace anything, just to lend a hand when you need it. We can go through this together. Mia's gaze darted between them, uncertainty etching lines on her young face. But what if you don't really mean it? What if you leave us? A lump formed in Lisa's throat, and she struggled to keep her voice steady. Sam isn't going anywhere. Not if I can help it. She took a step closer to Mia, bridging the distance. It's up to us how we navigate this together. It doesn't change our bond. Mia, I promise I'm in this for the long haul. I want to be here for both of you, Sam said softly, his sincerity touching something deep inside Mia. After a breathless moment, the uncertainty in Mia's eyes began to soften. Okay. If you're sure. It was a cautious acceptance, still layered with wariness but also a sign of potential acceptance. Lisa watched as an unspoken hope flickered in Sam's expression, the affirmation that maybe they could face the storm together. Why don't we all sit down? Sam suggested, easing the mood. We can talk about how I can help. What are you guys excited about? What do you love? Lisa felt the tension in the room slowly ebb away as they shifted into a conversation about the small joys. They talked about Mia's love for painting, her dreams of having an art exhibit, and how Lisa always found solace in a good book as the laughter began to merge with their words. An unexpected part of Lisa's heart opened up. Perhaps vulnerability didn't feel like a loss but rather a chance for growth. But just as the moment began to feel warm, a sharp knock reverberated through the apartment, pulling everyone's attention to the door. The atmosphere shifted instantly from warmth to apprehension. Lisa's stomach clenched. She hadn't been expecting anyone else. I'll get it, she said, uncertain as she walked toward the door. As her fingers brushed against the doorknob, dread bloomed inside her. What if this knock brought news that changed everything again? Who was waiting just outside the threshold? With a deep breath, she opened the door, the weight of uncertainty hanging heavy in the air. What awaited her could easily alter the course they had just begun to chart together. The door creaked open, and Lisa braced herself for whatever lay beyond. Standing there was a tall figure, his silhouette casting a long shadow into the living room. It was Mark, the lawyer, a title Lisa had grown accustomed to in the past few months. His presence, once merely a professional reminder of loose ends, now landed like a heavy weight in the room. Lisa, he began, his voice smooth and composed, but there was an urgency behind his eyes. I need to talk to you. It's south about the estate and the next steps. Lisa felt the air shift. Here was the reminder of everything they were trying to navigate, the binding force of her fears. She glanced back at Sam and Mia, who were both watching her with a mix of curiosity and concern. Can it wait? She asked, half hopeful, half desperate. She didn't want to pull the mood down so soon after that fragile moment of connection with Sam and Mia. Mark shook his head slowly, his expression serious. It's time-sensitive. Mia shifted uncomfortably, a frown creeping onto her face. Lisa could feel every heartbeat in her chest, the dilemma surfacing painfully. She wanted to prioritize Mia's comfort, but she also knew that ignoring this was not an option either. Let us talk. Then, Lisa said, stepping aside to let Mark in. He crossed the threshold into their sanctuary like a storm cloud approaching a sunlit sky. Thanks, Mark replied, glancing at Sam as he walked past. You must be Sam. Good to see you. Sam nodded, but an unreadable expression crossed his face. Lisa gestured for them to sit at the small table, the sun casting shadows through the windows, almost a cruel contrast to the heaviness filling the air. Is this about the will? Lisa asked, her voice steadying as she tried to focus on the matter at hand. Yes, it is. There have been some developments, Mark said, tapping some papers against the table before sliding them toward her. There are clauses in the will that may change the course of actions you've been considering. Lisa scanned the documents. Her mind raced. The details were overwhelming. But in the midst of it all, she couldn't shake the feeling of dread. How could anything tied to the estate bring favorable news? Mia leaned in, her little hands resting on the table. What does that mean? Are we going to be okay? Lisa opened her mouth but found no words. Instead, she caught Sam's gaze. He looked thoughtful, protective. It was a reminder she wasn't alone in this. Mark continued. There's an offer on the property, one that's significantly above market value. Could help pay for your mother's medical bills and secure your future, Mia. Lisa felt the blood drain from her face. It was a lifeline, and yet, it was also a brutal reminder of the cost. They had fought so hard to keep everything together, and now part of that fight might require letting go. What do you think, Mom? Mia asked, her innocent eyes searching Lisa's for reassurance. Lisa swallowed hard, battling the swirl of her emotions. I just need a moment to think, she finally replied. It's a big decision. I understand. Take your time, but know that time is of the essence, Mark added, his voice softening slightly. the reminder of reality lingering like an echo. The three of them sat in silence. Mia's small fingers fidgeted nervously. Lisa's heart was heavy, caught between choices that felt impossibly tangled. The room's atmosphere shifted again, vulnerability mingled with urgency. A delicate web of hope wrapped in fear. Finally, Sam broke the quiet, his voice low but clear. Whatever you decide, we're here. You don't have to carry this alone. Lisa looked around the table, feeling the weight of their collective gaze. She had a choice to make, one that could change everything again. But how could she possibly know the right direction? As Lisa wrestled with this reality, another knock echoed through the door, more insistent this time. Her stomach dropped again. Who could it be? What more awaited them on this tenuous path? With a flicker of trepidation, the door beckoned her once more. What lay behind it could disrupt everything yet again. Just when they were starting to find their footing. Was she ready for another surprise? Lisa felt a strange mix of anticipation and fear swirling in her stomach as she approached the door. Each cautious step echoed in her mind, reminding her of the weight of the present moment. She grasped the doorknob firmly and turned it, her heart racing with uncertainty. As she pulled the door open, a chill spread through the room. Standing there was an older woman, her face lined with years of worry. Lisa recognized her instantly. It was Mrs. Hargrove, their neighbor from across the street, someone who had often looked out for them since the upheaval in their lives began. "Lisa, dear," Mrs. Hargrove's voice trembled slightly. "I heard there was a gathering here today. I'm worried about you. Mind if I come in?" "Of course," Lisa replied, stepping aside to let her in. She couldn't help but feel a sense of relief wash over her, feeling less isolated. Mia, still at the table, looked up at the unexpected guest with curiosity while Sam remained still, his expression a mix of concern and interest. "Mark has just informed us of an offer on the estate," Lisa said, her voice wavering. "Things are well complicated. It always seems that way, doesn't it?" Mrs. Hargrove said softly. "Life can throw us curveballs when we least expect it." She settled into a chair, her eyes scanning the documents Mark had brought. When my husband passed, it took me years to find a moment to breathe again. There's a lot to unpack in all this." Lisa nodded, feeling a wave of empathy. "It's tough to navigate everything alone. I'm just trying to do what's best for Mia and my mom." "You're strong for doing this," Mrs. Hargrove smiled gently. "And remember, it's okay to lean on others. Sometimes sharing our burdens can light the way." Suddenly, Lisa felt the walls closing in around her, the flood of emotions tightening its grip. Mrs. Hargrove's words seemed to strike right at the heart of her confusion. Was she really doing enough? Was she making the right decisions? As silence filled the room, Sam cleared his throat. "Have you thought about what would happen if you accepted the offer, Lisa? Would it help?" "Yes," Lisa replied, her fingertips brushing the edges of the papers. "It could help with the bills and give Mia some security." But what?" Mia interjected, her small voice cutting through the tension. "I don't want to lose our home." That innocent declaration sliced through Lisa's heart like a knife. She turned to Mia, seeing the fear etched on her daughter's young face. "We won't lose everything, sweetheart. I promise," Lisa said, determination shaking off the fog that had settled over her. "We just need to figure out what makes sense." Mark, who had been quietly watching the exchange, leaned forward. "There are options, Lisa. You don't have to decide anything today. But the urgency is real. The offer might not last long." Lisa felt her heart race again, and the pressure of the world seemed to weigh heavily on her shoulders. The room was filled with the weight of unspoken fears and potential futures. "Lisa," Mrs. Hargrove said gently, "sometimes letting go is the first step to healing. Trust yourself to know what's best." The words hung in the air, a fragile lifeline. Lisa wondered if she was truly ready to consider a path that felt so final. Before she could respond, a noise from the back of the house caught her attention. The sound of something crashing followed by a pained cry sent shivers down her spine. Lisa exchanged panicked glances with Sam and Mia, her heart skipping. What on earth was happening now? With urgency coursing through her, Lisa bolted toward the source of the commotion. Whatever surprise waited inside might just challenge everything she thought she knew. What had she stepped into this time? As Lisa hurried through the hallway, the sound of commotion grew louder. Her heart pounded in sync with her hurried footsteps. She imagined 1,000 scenarios, each worse than the last. Had Mia hurt herself? Was Sam in trouble? Reaching the doorway to the living room, she paused. The sight that met her eyes took her breath away. There, in the middle of the room, was a tall figure looming over the coffee table, a man unfamiliar to her. He had dark hair and an intense expression, as though he were wrestling with a difficult thought. Around him were scattered papers, the remnants of Mark's documents flying like confetti in a gust of wind. "Get away from there," Lisa shouted before she could think. Her protective instinct kicked in, pushing aside her uncertainty. The man turned, surprise flashing across his features. "Oh, I'm sorry," he exclaimed, holding up his hands as if to show he was harmless. "I didn't mean to cause any trouble. I'm just looking for—" "Who are you?" Lisa interrupted, stepping forward, ready to defend her family. "Wait, I can explain," he said, his voice calm yet urgent. "I'm here on behalf of the investors. I just need to gather some information from Mark's files." "Investors?" Lisa echoed, confusion spilling over her shock. "What are you talking about?" Just then, Mark appeared in the doorway, his expression a mix of irritation and confusion. "What's going on here?" he demanded, glancing between Lisa and the stranger. The man shifted nervously. "I know this looks bad, but I promise I was just following up on the estate. Your father was in negotiations, and there's a lot at stake." Lisa felt the weight of dread settle into her stomach. "My father? He's gone," she said, each word heavier than the last. The stranger's face softened, and he took a step closer. "I'm really sorry. I had no idea." His voice was low, and for a second, Lisa saw a glimmer of empathy in his eyes. "What do you want?" Sam interjected, his voice steady although his wide eyes showed his anxiety. "I want to help," the man said, lowering his hands as if to show he was harmless. "Look, I know things are rough right now. Your father was working on something important, and if you don't handle this correctly, you could be losing more than just the estate." "Losing more?" Mia quivered, her small voice piercing through the underlying tension. "Let us not scare them," Mark said, stepping further into the room. "What exactly does that mean?" The man took a deep breath, obviously gathering his thoughts. "Your father had a partner, and they were about to finalize a deal that could have saved this place. If he didn't get to..." Lisa's thoughts raced. "Saved? What do you mean?" "Your father had one last chance to turn this estate into something bigger. Could have meant financial security for all of you. Why didn't we know about this?" Lisa demanded, emotion rising in her throat. The loss of her father was still fresh, and this felt like an intrusion on her grief. He stammered, sweat glistening on his forehead. "I was trying to keep it quiet until things were finalized. Your father didn't want you to worry. But now I'm worried," Lisa cried, feeling the walls closing in. "Maybe you shouldn't be," Mark interjected sharply. "What are you trying to get at?" The man paused, seemingly weighing his options. "What I'm trying to say is you have a chance to reclaim what was lost. You just need to decide if you're willing to fight for it." Lisa's mind spun. Suddenly, the offer, the estate, the decisions that loomed over her like a heavy storm cloud all began to reshape themselves. Could this be a way forward instead of a dead end? "Think about it," the stranger said, sensing the shift in mood. "You could not just keep your home but enhance it. There are investors lined up, people who want to help. Are you in?" As Lisa stood there, heart in her throat, the weight of possibility began to settle around her. All she had left was a desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, this stranger's words could be her way out. But could she trust him? And if she stepped into this fight, would it bring her closer to her father's legacy, or further away from the peace her family sought? She hesitated, layers of fear and hope intertwining. In that moment, the future of her family hung precariously in the balance, waiting for her decision. What would she choose? Lisa felt her heart racing, the gravity of the situation bearing down on her. The man stood there, hopeful yet anxious, as if Lisa's answer could shift the tides of the world around them. Torn between her desire to protect her family and her curiosity about the offer laid before her, she searched for words. "What do I have to do?" she finally asked, her voice shaking slightly. "Just listen and consider," he replied, stepping fully into the room. "I know it's a lot to take in, but the opportunity is real. The investors are serious, and they believe in the potential of this estate. Your father saw it too." Mark crossed his arms, skepticism painted across his face. "And if we say no? What happens then?" The man shifted nervously under Mark's gaze. "If you don't go ahead, the estate could be sold off piecemeal. You'd lose everything, including the memories, the history." Mia, still hanging back, looked up at Lisa, her young eyes reflecting confusion and concern. "Lisa, what do we do?" Lisa could feel the weight of her siblings' gaze on her, asking her to lead them through the storm. She longed to give them the comfort of certainty, but the truth was that she felt lost. "What if we look into it?" she suggested weakly, her mind racing with uncertainty. "Look into it?" Mark shot back, his frustration palpable. "What does that mean? We're talking about a stranger. How do we know he is not here to rob us?" "I'm not here to rob you," the man said, a hint of desperation creeping into his tone. "I promise you, this estate is not just a house. It's a legacy. Your father loved this place, and I've seen what it can become with the right plans." "What right plans?" Mark pressed, now more intrigued than angry. The man took a breath, steadying himself as if he were about to share a secret. "I have connections in real estate, architects, designers. They want to meet with you. We can create a vision together, something that honors your father's memory while also bringing in the funds you need." Tension filled the room, the air thick with possibilities. Lisa's mind churned, images of their home, her childhood memories, laughter, Mark's stubbornness, and Mia's fierce spirit dancing in front of her eyes. Could they transform this heartache into something greater? Sam finally spoke up, his voice softer but steady. "But what if it doesn't work? What if we go through all this trouble and lose everything anyway?" There was a silence, each one realizing the risk. "Then we lose it all, but at least we tried," Lisa replied, a surge of determination rising within her. "I'm not ready to give up yet." The man nodded, grateful for her shift in resolve. "That's the spirit. Sometimes the biggest risks lead to the biggest rewards." Lisa took a deep breath, the fear of failure battling against a newly budding hope. "If we're going to do this, we need to do it together. We can't rush in without a plan or get lost in what we want." "Exactly," the man agreed, a spark of excitement lighting his eyes. "With your father's vision at our core, we can make something lasting. Are you ready to step into this?" The weight of her choice settled heavily on her shoulders, but despite the uncertainty, she felt a flicker of excitement rising in her chest. Perhaps this wasn't just about the estate. Perhaps it was about finding her family's direction amidst the darkness. As the others looked to her for guidance, she realized she was ready to embrace the unknown. Their father's legacy wouldn't fade. Together, they could rebuild and honor what he left behind. "Let us talk," she said, her voice steady. Just as the tension began to lift and the spark of possibility ignited, the doorbell chimed, slicing through the air like a knife. Who could it be now? With her heart racing again, Lisa exchanged glances with her siblings, fear bubbling back to the surface. In this fight for their future, the very last thing she wanted was a new complication. What came next could change everything. Who was at the door? Lisa held her breath as the doorbell rang again, its sound reverberating in her chest. A wave of uncertainty swept through her, the earlier flicker of hope now overshadowed by a creeping anxiety. Who was waiting on the other side? Should one of us answer it? Mia whispered, her small voice tinged with fear. "I'll go," Mark volunteered, though he looked less confident than he wanted to seem. He took a deep breath and walked towards the door, his footsteps echoing in the otherwise quiet room as he reached for the doorknob. The man from before stepped closer, his expression flickering between excitement and apprehension. "Let me introduce myself again. just in case he began. But Mark swung the door open before he could finish. Standing out in the fading light was a tall woman, elegantly dressed, with a seemingly effortless confidence radiating from her. Her hair was shoulder-length and a warm chestnut tone, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity and concern. "Hello. I'm looking for Lisa Blanchard," she said, her voice smooth and clear. All eyes turned toward Lisa, whose heart thundered in her ears. "That's me," she managed to say, her palms clammy against her sides. The woman stepped into the room, glancing around as if taking stock of everything that had once belonged to her father. "I apologize for intruding," she said. "I couldn't help but overhear some of the conversation from outside. My name is Elena. I knew your father well." The room went silent again. Lisa felt a rush of confusion. Who was this woman? What connection did she have to their father? "I don't understand," Lisa stammered. "How did you know we'd be here?" Elena smiled, a hint of sadness coloring her expression. "I was aware he had passed, but I didn't realize how much of his life he poured into this estate. I came to see it one last time to pay my respects. I didn't expect to find you all here, especially in such a difficult moment." Mark stepped forward protectively. "What do you want?" "Mark, wait," Lisa said, raising her hand. "Let her speak." Elena's gaze shifted back to Lisa. "Your father and I worked together on several projects. He had a vision for this estate that went beyond just a house. He dreamed of a community, a gathering place filled with laughter and life." Her voice grew stronger, rich with memory. "He was passionate about preserving the legacy of this land. I'd like to help you, and I have some resources that could support your vision." Lisa felt the weight of Elena's words sinking in. "Resources? Financial support, connections to investors who share the same values," she replied, her voice steady. "I believe we could make something truly wonderful if we work together." Elena's offer dangled before them like a lifeline, yet the skepticism in Mark seemed to grow. "What's the catch?" he asked, crossing his arms. "There's no catch," Elena insisted. "I genuinely want to help, but I do need your trust. This estate could be a beacon, but it requires commitment, vision, and a bit of courage." Lisa's head spun. Did she really want to trust a stranger, even one who seemed to wield a key to their future? How could she be sure it wasn't another risk that might leave them worse off than before? As the room filled with tension, Lisa looked around at her siblings. Fear and uncertainty danced in their eyes, mirroring her own inner turmoil. Meanwhile, Elena waited patiently, as if sensing the weight of her decision. "Can we take some time to think about it?" Lisa eventually asked. She needed to weigh this choice against the risks ahead. "Of course," Elena replied, her expression warm and understanding. "Just know that time may not be on your side." The clock on the wall ticked ominously, echoing her words, sending a fresh wave of urgency through Lisa's heart. What if they lost the chance before them? With one last look at her siblings, she felt the swell of determination rise again. Perhaps this truly could be the start of something new, a way to honor their father's legacy while finding their own footing. But as they considered the possibilities ahead, dread clawed at her gut. If this wasn't a chance at rebuilding, but merely another misstep, how would they recover this time? The tension was palpable as Lisa turned back to Elena. "We'll talk," she said, the uncertainty gripping her heart. Elena nodded, almost knowingly, and turned to leave. They all watched her go, the door closing slowly behind her. Silence enveloped the room, and Lisa felt the heavy burden of decisions looming over them. Would they choose to embrace this opportunity, or let it slip away like sand through their fingers? In that suspended moment, just before the question became clear, Lisa's phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her back into reality. She glanced down, heart racing once more, as she saw the name flashing on the screen, a name she hadn't expected to see again. What could it possibly mean? Lisa watched as the phone lit up with a familiar name: Daniel. The man who had long since faded from her life but had once been a close friend. He was a conduit to an earlier version of herself, one before her life had been woven with Mia's struggles and her father's passing. She stared at the screen, her heart racing, memories resurfacing like waves crashing against the shore. Should I answer? She murmured, half in disbelief, half in fear. Mia and Sam exchanged puzzled glances, the air in the room thick with uncertainty. Couldn't he hurt to see what he wants, Sam urged. Taking a deep breath, Lisa accepted the call. Hey, Daniel, it's been a while, she said, forcing a cheerfulness she didn't truly feel. Lisa, I wasn't sure you'd pick up. Daniel's voice crackled through with a warmth that reminded her of their days full of laughter and dreams. I heard about what happened with your father. I'm so sorry. His sincere tone cut through her confusion, and for a moment, she felt a glimmer of comfort. Thank you. It's been overwhelming. I can only imagine, he replied gently. I wanted to check in and see if you're okay. I know you're going through a lot. I'm trying to be okay, she admitted, the weight of her vulnerability washing over her. Well, if you need anything at all, I'm here. I've always been. You know that, right? His words were a lifeline. Before her mind could spiral into memories of the past, Lisa felt a surge of hope. Actually, it's funny you call now. I'm at a crossroads with everything. An opportunity has come up that could change things for Mia and me. But I'm terrified to take the leap again. Tell me about it, he urged, genuine curiosity in his voice. As she shared her thoughts, Lisa poured out the story of the estate, the new investors, and then finally, Elena's unexpected offer of support. She looked at Sam, who was listening intently, his presence steady and encouraging. Daniel was silent for a moment. It sounds like a huge risk, but I senti that life? Risk is scary, but it can also be the path to incredible growth, he said. True, she sighed, watching Mia who sat cross-legged on the couch, her small fingers absent-mindedly drawing shapes on the fabric. But what if it all crumbles? What if I can't handle it? Or, he countered softly, what if you fly? You have so much strength within you, Lisa. This is your chance to take back control of your life, to rebuild and honor your father's legacy. Let others help you carry the load. It can be life-changing. As his words settled in, Lisa felt a weight lift slightly. Maybe this was the moment she had been waiting for, a chance to cling to that flickering light of hope and courage. But would she truly let go? Suddenly, she felt a resolve begin to grow within her. Thank you, Danny. I really needed to hear that. Just remember, you've got people who care about you. You're not alone in this, Lisa, he reminded her, warmth palpable even through the phone. Okay. I won't forget, she said, feeling a surge of gratitude. I think I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next. They ended the call with a lingering sense of connection. Lisa looked around the apartment, the shadows of uncertainty beginning to lift. I think I know what I need to do, she said, meeting Sam's steady gaze. Then let us hear it, he urged, his expression reflecting faith in her journey. I'm going to talk to Elena about her offer. I want to see what it really means for us, not just as a way to cope, but as a foundation for something greater. Mia looked up with a mix of hope and fear, her eyes wide like saucers. Are we really going to do it, Mom? Lisa smiled, feeling warmth spread through her. We are going to explore the possibilities ahead. This could be the beginning of a new chapter for us, a fresh start. Mia beamed. I like fresh starts. As Lisa held Mia's gaze, she realized that this was more than just a decision about the estate. This was about embracing life, about cherishing the deeper connections around them. Suddenly, the earlier fear shifted into excitement, and a new belief began to blossom. They weren't just standing at a crossroad. They were stepping into a future shaped by hope, collaboration, and love. What's next? Mia asked. Lisa felt a radiant smile on her face. We stepped forward together. Just then, the door swung open again, and before Lisa could brace herself, she saw a group of familiar faces, friends and neighbors united in concern, bringing baskets of food, flowers, and the essence of community. We heard you needed some support, Mrs. Hargrove exclaimed, holding a plate of cookies. Feeling the swell of love from her community wrapped around them like a comforting embrace, Lisa laughed. In that moment, she knew they could weather any storm and find beauty, even in uncertain times, as laughter filled the room. The walls of isolation crumbled. Together, they would navigate each new challenge with heart, determination, and a shared spirit. And just like that, everything shifted. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to be part of more inspiring stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this journey. Send this video to at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation. Let us build a community that thrives on hope and connection.